no, take that down. I'll
No,
send you the picture.
No, it was
Okay.
all about those Doc Martens. in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to rerun these because I hadn't turned on the recording. So now I have. And okay. So good evening and thank you for joining us. We are this evening honored to have Denise Roberts Hurlin with us and to discuss her life in the arts. And so I'm going to let Todd do his opening intro and plug for the foundation and take it away, Todd.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us and thanks for watching us. The Masterwork Music and Arts Foundation has been around for over 50 years, supporting excellence in the arts, beginning with music. But today, actually, the organization supports 3 levels of excellence. The first is a Premier Award, a $10,000 grant that goes out to an artist. And then we have Community Grant Awards that go out to different community organizations. And we have competitive awards as well. We also offer some free classes and this series you're watching right now, A Life in the Arts, celebrating the stories of people who've committed themselves to the arts in some way and the insights that they have to share. So I have to say, I'm personally really thrilled that Denise is sharing her story with us tonight. She's a longtime friend, one of the most lovely people I know. And with that, Joe, thank you.
The only thing I would add to that is maybe you want to mention that we just had an award in our Premier Award this last week. So we were very honored to present a hometown boy with the award for excellence in organ playing, which is really cool. Anyway, yeah, let's talk. Anyway, I have questions here from Todd, and I'll use some of them, and I will make up some other stuff. Like most dancers who actually are in the profession, you started young, and so what was like? I think you danced with your brothers. So what was that like?
I like many, young people, your mother is looking for a way to get you engaged when you're little. And so there was a dance studio that was a block from our house. And so my mother asked if I wanted to take class. And I was like, of course, sure. And that was just really all that spark that was necessary. It was just immediate. And my brothers, as what happens many times with brothers, with the sisters who dance, that suddenly they're sucked in and engulfed in that world too, because you're going to various things because of me, since I was older. And so lo and behold, they got involved too a little bit, but not as my one brother did perform for a bit as a career, but didn't really take it on as much. He did it for about 5 years, and then he was like, okay.
Well, I was going to say, making dance a career is, well, I don't know, it seems like a big decision. And
it is. It's an excellent way of putting it. It is a big decision because you're making this decision based on a passion. You're compelled to do it. Nobody really says, I'm going to be a dancer because it's a great job and I'll make a lot of money, and my parents will be so thrilled that, oh, great, you're going into a solid, and the arts can be, have this sort of wave, right? When you enter into them. But it was just something I was compelled and loved to do from an early age. So
yeah, well, that's what keeps all of us who enter going. And listen, and not everybody's lucky enough. You talk about the waves. Not everybody's lucky enough to get the crests
yes,
at all.
Absolutely,
But,
it was an extreme privilege to have my art also be able to be my job.
Right. I always love, there's a quote from Robert Frost. There's a poem that says, my object in living is to unite my avocation and my vocation as my two eyes make one in sight. And I've always loved that. Listen, you did hit the big time. I mean, Paul Taylor is definitely the big time in the world of dance. And so what was it like at being part of that company? And, because it's touring and it's basically acquiring a very large extended family. It isn't just the dancers, it's all those other people who make it happen.
And, very much so, it is a family, and I think that's universal in all dance companies, whether it's a smaller company of 8 dancers, the Taylor company, there were 16 of us, or, American Ballet Theatre has, 90, you know what I mean? So I think that even though there are huge differences, it still is this, you are, this family. Yeah. And I think that, like I said before, it was a privilege to have a goal realized. Mm-hmm. So I performed a piece of Paul's at when I was at college, at Purchase College. I went to the dance conservatory at Purchase College in New York. And I was able to perform one of his pieces called Cloven Kingdom that was choreographed in 1976. And it was just like that. Like I knew, oh my gosh, this is what, I definitely want to do this.
Right. Yeah.
It took me a while. It wasn't immediate.
Well, I was going to say, but you got to work with Paul Taylor himself.
Yes.
And work, which, not everybody gets to do things like that. And
you have those moments of just thinking like, oh my gosh, is this real? Like you really have to come out of yourself and just take a look at it, sometimes.
I was going to, this is the one question of Todd's that I don't need to paraphrase. So do you have a favorite Paul Taylor story?
Well, I think that I think the best moments of Paul was obviously in the creative process, in the studio when he's making a dance, seeing him put it all together and how he would do that. And sometimes it was very similar in ways that it was counting out all the music, separating it all out, separating the music, and then diving in to the actual movement. But sometimes it wasn't, and so I think just being able to be part of that and know that he was needing me, he was needing us to make this. It wasn't like he came into the room and said, do this, 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 and this.
No.
It was totally this, he was in charge and he was, directing everything, of course, but it was utilizing the people that were in front of him. And so that was kind of cool. But one of the dances that he made while I was in the company is a piece called Company B, which is music set to the Andrews Sisters. And it was the first time that he used different songs to create a whole dance, as opposed to, say, a Bach violin concerto,
Right.
or a piece of music that was composed specifically for dance. So this was a new sort of concept.
Yeah.
And so he loved to tell this story that he had a house on Van Dam, and he would walk to the studio. At that time was in Soho, on Broadway, between Prince and Spring. And on his walk, he found in the trash a record of the Andrews Sisters. And so that he swiped this record and took it and listened to this, and then discovered this is the music he was going to make. And he told that story for years. I bet 10 years, at least more. And then finally, I think it was Anna Kisselgoff, the dance critic for the New York Times, one of the Times critics, was interviewing him, and he finally, and he was very mischievous in a way. He's a big guy, but he kind of had this moment to him, and he totally lied the whole time. He did not find that, so it was always these tales that he loved to get you involved in, and then you're kind of wondering, is this real?
Well,
anyway, but
it's real enough.
It was, but that was, obviously part of the whole spectrum of
Right.
of the whole making the dance, right?
Yeah. Well, so okay, but one of the sad facts of dancers' lives is that there's always a second act. You have to do something.
Yes.
Because the dancer's career, I mean, I did see Martha Graham, and I want to say she was 78 when I saw her. But
yes, but her name is the name of the company. That's
well, and she didn't have to move much in the dance.
First Cunningham the same.
I think it was Cortege of Eagles or something, and it was, and she mostly just stood there, and everybody did stuff around her. But but you have a really impressive second act, because you and Hernando Cortez, who was another dancer with the Taylor Company, decided to do something. And in the face of a major national tragedy that touched the arts very, very deeply. And Todd says, did you know at the time what kind of impact you would have? Nobody knows at the time what kind of impact they're going to have. Yeah. But I bet it seemed like it was important.
Well, and I'm 59 and a half. So therefore, I'm of that exact age that when in the 80s and 90s, at the height of my performing career, was also the height of the AIDS crisis. And when you're in a company of 16 and 2 dancers in the company are sick and dying of AIDS, has a profound impact, let alone all the other people, the other, right. Scores of other dancers that we knew at the time. So it really was a moment of where, you just feel, because it's part of your life, you feel like you have to do something. So right. Hernando and I founded Dancers Responding to AIDS, which is a program of Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. Right. And in the beginning, it was really just trying to have our voice heard, that idea of because it was pay attention. Do you understand what's happening? Because it's hard when it's so drastically affecting your microcosm of a family, right? That we talked about. And so it was really that sort of listen to us. And so when we were marching in a pride parade in 1993, it was a whole group of dancers from the Taylor Company, Martha Graham Company, Twyla, New York City Ballet, ABT, all these different dancers from all these different companies were marching down Fifth Avenue in support of Dancers Responding to AIDS. And we kept, instead of just marching, we were young and ridiculous and didn't realize that jeting down Fifth Avenue might not be good for our bodies, but it didn't matter. We were, right. And so we were dancing, jumping, leaping down Fifth Avenue, and we kept running into the group ahead of us. And Tom Viola, the executive director of Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, turned around and said, "Who are you people?" And we're like, "We're dancers responding to AIDS." And he was like, "Maybe you should come talk to me."
Right.
And so it was at that moment that understanding, by becoming together, becoming a program of Broadway Cares, we would be able to have that larger voice to a greater community. And so it was at that time. Did I know in 1993 that I would still be doing this 30 years later? No, I had no idea. But I think that tenacity wins the day sometimes, and you just feel the need is there, and then you expand on how you serve, and so therefore you do more and more and more. And fortunately, we've been able to do more as we continue. So
well, and I think that in every success, there's a piece of stubbornness.
yes.
Because there's all sorts of things telling you that no, you should be, don't do this. This is silly. But if you're stubborn enough, you can really make a difference in the world, and you have, and
Well,
that's really, really neat. And what's besides jetéing down Fifth Avenue? What other memories do you have from that are that are especially like poignant to you?
Well, obviously utilizing the creative, talented artists around us is how we fundraise. So it's creating these events, over the years, which have been, one being the Fire Island Dance Festival, which is an event we create in the Pines out on Fire Island that is set against the Great South Bay. The dance overlooking the suns. I mean, it's spectacular.
Yeah.
And then another event that we do is called the Hudson Ballet Dance Festival, which is we create a theatrical experience in a 19th century warehouse on the bank of the the Hudson River in Catskill. And that in those both are showcases of all of these dance types, these dance genres that we serve, right? Everyone can be served by the fundraising that we do. So therefore we showcase all these different types of dance as well. And I just think that bringing people together in these moments has just been a glorious part of all of this, that, really is still about the mission, really about the fundraising.
Right.
That's what my job is, right?
Right.
Technically. But I think the fact that I can engage and nurture and help the creative process as well, I think that's been pretty remarkable.
And that's my cue.
Okay.
Because we have a short video here from the Hudson Valley Dance Festival, and this is a montage which I did watch. I watched it before, and this is kind of like everybody. And so if people who are watching are going to see a whole lot of different styles and things all at once in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And let's see if I can. All right, I'm going to, first of all, let's go full screen. That works. And I need to share my screen once again, and that'll do. And now, the only thing that I've seen before is that I sometimes have seen that you've got to, wait a minute, no, it's down here. Video settings. I think we're okay. I've had it suddenly be choppy if I don't remember to change the settings. So let's go. Should be. Hold on. That's not it. I want to go here. Hold on. Share sound. Okay. Makes you want to just, so are we doing one this summer, or is it we still?
No,
Yeah.
we aren't. So last year, we did a virtual Hudson Valley Dance Festival. And I will say, one of the things, we all had to learn a lot, right, during this pandemic. And I've learned a little bit about video editing. So that was, I had to piece together all of that different footage to that music. And I'd like to be happy that I learned something new, thinking that I can learn something new, even though I'm this age. So as it stands currently, we as an organization are really waiting for the performing arts to reopen, feel themselves out before we start to come in and ask of them. And so Broadway will begin to open up in September, as well as the dance community, Lincoln Center, the Joyce Theater, knock on everything, and hope that all of those plans are still in place. And so for the rest of the fall, Broadway Cares and DRA, we do not have any in-person performances.
I think it's a little soon. I still think it's just,
so we just knew that we weren't ready, because we had to retreat a little bit and do everything pretty much online. So we're not back as an organization, and we're very grassroots, so that we produce a lot, we do it all. We do a lot of it ourselves. And so it really takes our whole entire office, to really do stuff. And so it's
well, you'll get it back together.
Yes, we will.
And though the last piece, because we're almost at the end, well, Doesn't matter if we go a couple minutes over the half hour, it's fine.
Okay, okay. All right.
But the thing is that the one thing that we don't want to leave without mentioning is your daughter.
Oh, thank you.
And there must be something in the field of genetics because she's a principal dancer with the American Ballet Theatre.
Well, she's a
And
soloist. Hopefully she'll be a principal soon, but she's a soloist.
not being in the dance world, I didn't know that distinction.
That would be a difference, but she'd kill me if I didn't like tell you that was a difference.
Okay. Well, in fact, we have, this is a shorter piece. This is only a minute.
Okay.
But this is a rehearsal, it seems, for a piece called Of Love and Rage. And let me see if I can do, well, if we already know that we had to share the sound. That was good. And what I'm trying to see here, talk about learning new. Every week I do this, I get to learn that they've moved the control in Zoom to somewhere else.
Oh dear.
Yeah, well. Anyways, so
yeah.
let's have a look.
Okay.
This is
Her name is Catherine Hurlin.
Well,
this is Arin Bell. It is a piece. It was a new full-length ballet created by Alexei Ratmansky on them.
Okay, so is there supposed to be music with this?
Yes.
Well, hold on. Ah, there we go. Oh, that's all.
That's all.
Oh, we broke in mid
Yes.
phrase,
They just give you a little tease, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you must be indeed very proud.
It really is quite something, I must admit. And one of the well, it was very obvious when she was young that she had this ability, right? It definitely, as a dancer, it was easy to recognize, but she has to come to it. She had to come to it from her own. Nobody works that hard if they don't want to and feel that, like I talked about before, that passion that you're compelled to do it. So, there's no parent out there. If you could, have a magic spell to make your child work hard at something, if they don't want to do it, you can't make them.
Right, exactly.
So it was about when she was about 12 is when that was obvious that was going to be her path. Because unlike other like modern dance, Broadway, a lot of things where you can go to college, graduate and be ready to start your career, where in the ballet world it's more like elite athletes where they're very young and you're 16 and you're deciding this is what I'm gonna, so it's a very different, that's where it's very different.
Well, I was going to say that now I have nothing but admiration for people who take on this as a life. It is it's like you said, it's not something where you're going to make $1 million, and but if you feel called to do it, it's amazing. So actually, I do have a question, which is with her starting at this, and granted it's a different kind of dance than you did, but what did you feel you had to tell her?
It's just helping her understand that you can get frustrated in the moment. Like every job you do, everyone, you have these frustrations that you have in your career. But there are those moments where you have to just take it and say, this is a privilege. This is something, there are so few people in the world that get to do this. And sometimes, you just have to allow yourself that, even though you just are, thinking, oh my God, this is, blah, 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 complain as 20 somethings do, right? But so I think that's the part too, that is just making sure that she can be grounded in understanding what a privilege this is.
Right. I need to invite Todd back in here. All right, there he is. And okay, so this is the end, and we have Todd do his final plug for Masterwork. But also, I just really want to thank you. This has just been, besides just the privilege of sharing the dance that you had there. We're getting crosstalk. Oh, well, it's on Zoom. That happens. Someone else is speaking in my headpiece. So, well, wait a minute. Ask to Noah. Wait. Oh, there's two of you. Okay. Well, all right. All right, Todd, if you want to unmute and take it away.
Well, that usually we have some folks joining us tonight, but that didn't happen. So, but Denise, before we leave you in this Q&A section, I thought I'd just sort of reveal a little about our history together and something that I wanted to sort of highlight. And that is, I remember young man coming from the country, big scary city, throwing myself into the performing arts and then stumbling upon Broadway Cares. And I was so impressed by the sense of community that Broadway Cares really, it didn't exhibit it. It would just, it inspired. In the early days, amidst the crisis, maybe it was more natural, but even broader beyond that. And I really felt like that was something I really related to. I volunteered for everything I could think of doing for Broadway Cares for a long time, and have always felt very strongly about it. And the fact that you were so also fiscally responsible in, about, really serving the donor dollars that you receive, and have been very expansive in that regard. All these things to me are just totally impressive and would make me a lifelong fan. So, but I also just, I think what I wanted to ask really was that if you noticed, like if you recall that, sort of before Broadway Cares, there was, it was kind of every man for themselves. You're in a show, you're in a company. There was no commingling of performers, around, supporting each other. And I think that really dramatically changed with Broadway Cares, and for all of the best ways. Not only just the performer community itself, but also the audience, community, the audience, the performing lovers out there. And I think that has made such a huge difference to the sector, that and to everyone's collective quality of life. That's just an observation that I've had about that. And I don't know if you had that same sense as well.
Absolutely. I think within the ballet world, there are lots of galas and lots of different ways for dancers from different companies all over the world to come together and perform and meet each other, and audiences are exposed to all these different dancers. but within the theater community, they can commingle it themselves because you're one show one time, another show another, and you meet different people that way. But really, it's still, like you said, you could be in a show and just stay in that show forever. And then just as a dance company, Paul Taylor, there's 16 of us, and it was like, you eat together, you sleep together, you dance together, all these things just all together. And so I think the opportunities that Broadway Cares and DRA have requested of people, that's the thing. We've made the call and people have responded. Our name is real. People, the dancers are responding to this call to action. And I think it's interesting that generationally, right? No one who was dancing, in the time we first met, no one is still performing today, that when we first met. So I think you're right. I think these organizations have become this glue, become this home, this sanctuary almost for a community to come together and to have that feeling of service, which is very comforting, right? Always having that feeling of service. And also you get to have fun and share your art. I mean, who doesn't want to, they're performers. They want to show off. That's what they want to do, So, but I think it has deeper personal, meaning for everyone who gets involved. And I will say I am so proud that dancers will always say yes. It's always just about my schedule doesn't work out, right? It's not, nobody rolls their eyes. It's always, how can I serve? And, I'm grateful.
Well, Denise, you're just a remarkable person, and I'm so humbled
Thank
to
you.
call you a friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. And Joe, may Masterwork, aspire to be as influential as Broadway Cares someday.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
I know we are.
Well, congratulations to you both for the work that you're doing. It's really, a $10,000 grant really makes a difference in the life of an artist, really. So you are bringing life to the arts in a way that is so necessary and needed. So thank you. Thank you.
And with that, I'll make the Masterwork plug. Joe, is that okay?
You can do that. Yes.
You can find us online at masterworkarts.org, where you can hear about our grant opportunities and some of our free classes, and the next to Life in the Arts, actually. And also
There's one other thing we should include. Denise, how does someone who wants to participate in Dancers Responding to AIDS, how do they find you and how do they do that?
They can go to dradance.org.
Good.
Or you can email me at Hurlin, HURLIN, at broadwaycares.org.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy that you have a short URL. I'm not so fortunate with several of the things I do. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And folk who have joined us from over the internet, we'll be back here in a week with another Life in the Arts. Good night.
Thanks, Denise. Bye.
Bye. And